So wonderful to be here. Thank you so much, everyone. I've got a beautiful lady, Francette. She's a dietitian, and she's going to give us some of her tips. And her presentation is awesome. I have seen it. So, Francette, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and then take us through your beautiful presentation, it will be so wonderful. Thank you so much, Francette.
Thank you, Sanette, and thank you for having me today. As Sanette said, I'm a registered dietitian. I'm in private practice. I'm in the Johannesburg and Pretoria area, but I'm also available online. And my mission in life is to help women feel their best, make good, healthy choices that are sustainable, and just to live their best life through good nutrition and with a focus on health, not just weight loss. But weight loss often joins the party anyway, but we really focus on being healthy and just being your best self. And like Sanette also does in her job, just to help people feel happy and be their best. So thank you for having me. What I want to do today is just share some tips for spring because it's springtime and often we want to jump on the diet wagon again. So I thought this is a good time just to chat about a few tips for spring and what we should be doing and what we should not be doing. So let's dive in.
Thank you.
So overview of this presentation is that I want to share with you what I think the perfect time to diet is, when that is, and also talk a little bit about the best diet. And then I'll share with you some tips from the Biggest Losers. Sure you're wondering what that is. We'll get into that later. And then I've got 10 tips for mindful eating. Those are my personal 10 tips that I've acquired over the years. That's a bit of my wisdom that I like to share with you. So let's talk about the perfect time to diet. So has this ever happened to you? Do you resonate with one of these quotes or maybe all of them? I will diet before summer. I want to get bikini ready. I will start my diet on Monday because maybe I had a piece of cake. I will diet after the holidays. I will diet when this work or project is done. Okay, I'm sure many of us, we've actually felt this way and we just procrastinate and we just say we'll do it later. Because when we want to diet, we often want to do it perfect and we want to not do it wrong. And the perfect time to diet is really never going to happen because life happens and conditions will never be perfect. If they are perfect, it will not be for a long time. So the perfect time to diet, or let's rather say to eat healthy, diet has got such a negative connotation for me. So let's say the perfect time to eat healthy is now at your very next meal. So let's not wait for Monday. Let's not wait for tomorrow morning. You can really just have a healthy meal right now. What is the best diet? So often when we go onto a diet, I think the first thing that we as women do, I think the gents as well, when they go onto eating plan is to suddenly eat very little food. So maybe this plate of food looks familiar to you, just a few items on the plate. You'll be a bit hungry after eating that. Or maybe you decide this is the time to detox my body. I want to go onto shakes. I'm going to do a smoothie week. I'm just going to have liquids. And is this really the best diet? And will these things really help you to feel your best? So it's not. So when you have this little amount of food, you're actually not sending those satiety messages to your brain. You need to really stretch your stomach enough to feel full and then send that satiety message. Otherwise, you'll be hungry again soon and you're going to search for something to nibble on, and I'm sure it's not going to be something healthy. So yes, often our meals are too big, but I would say most people who are dieters and they want to go onto a detox or a shake, they're often eating too little. And I've seen this time and again in practice where I get ladies and gentlemen into the practice. They're really desperate to lose weight. It's not that they're eating very unhealthy, and they actually do know how to diet. Let's say they know how to diet, but they don't know how to eat healthy and to do it in a sustainable way. So I teach people that your meal size mustn't be too small when you want to eat healthy. So a healthy eating plan is going to need a lot of food that's healthy and balanced. And this is my example of a healthy, balanced plate of food that will be your main meal, for example. So you can start by always filling half of your plate with vegetables or salad. Good guideline is to just use your 2 hands full. So that's a nice amount of vegetables or salad. That will also help you to feel full. So it gives you that satiety, because the vegetables are high in fiber. And obviously we know they're great because they contain a lot of nutrients and antioxidants. But for dieting or healthy eating, we want to feel full. So that's why we also add that healthy half plate of vegetables. This is also a nice way to do portion control. So even when you at a function or you're eating at friends or family, you can fill half of your plate with your vegetables, and already you're limiting the amount of space that's left on your plate for the other items in the meal. Then the rest of the plate, what you can do is fill a quarter of your plate with your carbohydrate option. Now, often when we diet, I find people scratch the carbohydrates and the starches immediately because they want to have weight loss quickly. And this is maybe a presentation for another day, but we carry a lot of carbs in our body. It's in the form of glycogen. It's stored in our muscles and in our liver, and that is connected to a lot of water. So the moment when we diet, we actually lose a lot of that water weight, and we actually use up those glycogen stores. So often when you get on the scale with these fat quick fix diets, they're not really a quick fix though, you weigh maybe 2-3 kilograms less in the first week. Maybe you lost a little bit of fat, but most of that was a water loss. And the moment when you maybe go eat out with your family, maybe you really feel for a pasta meal because you have been starving yourself, then suddenly the next morning you're 2 kilograms heavier. And it's not because you gained fat, it's because now you have restored your glycogen stores, and it's about, for every molecule of glycogen, we've got 4 molecules of water attached to it. So it can be about a 2 kilogram sort of difference that you'll see. And it's not because you've gained fat. So the carbs are really important. We find if you skip the carbohydrates, you can get constipation. Also, you'll find you've got lack of energy, lack of concentration, and you can get micronutrient deficiencies. And we're finding that we need that also for sustaining your blood sugar levels. So also, if you are diabetic, you must be including your carbohydrates. We never skip them completely, but we do limit the portion. So you'll see that's a quarter of the plate, or you can use the size of your fist for your carbohydrate portion. Then for the protein, I think most people eat a lot of protein, but what we do is we don't really spread it out evenly throughout the day. So I think South Africans especially, and maybe I'm sure in other places in the world as well, people are quite upset when I tell them just have a palm-sized amount of protein, as thick as the palm of your hand, and they find that that's very little. But what you should be doing is you should be having that amount at every meal during the day. So that is not just going to be your dinner meal where you maybe have your massive piece of steak or a lot of chicken pieces. You need to have a bit of protein at every meal during the day. So that's going to be your palm size amount of protein. Now we really need to build on this plate a little bit more. We can make it more balanced by adding 1 healthy fat serving. So on this plate, in my example, I've got a few slices of avocado. So healthy fats, the portion is just going to be about a teaspoon or a thumb-sized quantity. For an avocado, you can get away with adding up to half of a small avocado. And we do know we need those healthy fats just to keep up our heart health, and it's just great for overall. And about fruit, I often find fruit is a great snack for most people, but I want you to challenge yourself and not just go for fruit as a snack. It can really mess up your sugar levels. It can make you feel quite fatigued. You might even get sugar cravings later because you're not controlling your glucose levels well during the day. So rather add your fruit onto your main meal. You're going to feel so much better. So this is one of the things I teach in practice also. If you want to snack between meals, that's maybe a story for another day, but definitely go more for your proteins between the meals. So I hope that helps you. So next up, something different. It's just a few tips from the Biggest Losers. So I'm sure you know about the show, The Biggest Losers. It's a reality TV program. And these people lose a lot of weight, but they have been followed up, and a lot of these contestants actually regain weight again after the program has stopped. And that's often because that program and that weight loss wasn't in a realistic environment. It's not done in a sustainable way. So, and that's the same reason why I said, what's the perfect time to diet? We're never going to be in this perfect circumstances. Life happens, work happens, family happens. So we need to make sustainable changes that can be continued in our daily routine. So I went to search a little bit and I actually found a bit of hope for everyone. And this is a national weight control registry. So these are real life Biggest Losers in the United States of America. At the moment, there are about 10,000 people on this registry, and they've lost an average of about 30 kilograms, and they've kept it off for 5 years. So we see weight loss as successful when you've been able to keep it off for a year and longer. So a diet program isn't successful if you've lost 5 kilograms and 3 months later you've gained that back or sometimes gained more. So weight loss is successful when you've lost it and you've kept it off for a few months, preferably a year. So everyone on this list, they've lost a significant amount of weight. They've done it in different ways. So just in summary, so because we're always curious, what are other people doing? But 55% of them followed a structured weight loss program. And this is also very interesting. A lot of research about breakfast eating. 78% of them eat breakfast every day. So that is definitely a good habit. 75% of them weigh themselves at least once a week, so they know what's going on the scale. But I also don't suggest that you jump on the scale every single morning. Some people can get quite despondent because we don't see weight loss that quickly. But just be mindful of what's going on. If you don't want to weigh on the scale, just measure on your clothes or see how your favorite jeans are fitting. And then 62% of them watch less than 10 hours of television in a week. So what they're doing is they are limiting sedentary activity. And then 90% of them, they were exercising about an hour a day. And the most popular exercise was walking. So remember, if it says hour a day, it doesn't mean that they were doing high intensity exercise for 1 hour a day. Any activity that gets your heart rate going and gets you slightly out of breath counts as exercise. So that just needs to amount to a total of an hour a day. All right, now I want to share my top 10 tips for mindful eating with you. And number one is that when failing to plan, you're planning to fail. And I've seen this time and again in practice that planning ahead determines about 80% of your success. So really don't underestimate this one. So you can just start by something simple, such as planning your grocery list. Also, so when you see something is finished, just write it up so that when you get to the groceries, you're not unsure of what you need for the week. You've got your list. And then you can take a little bit further, and I quite like this one of a meal planning in advance for the week that's to come. So you can decide Monday we're eating ABC, and then on Tuesday this will be the meal. Instead of getting home in the evening and you open the fridge and it's almost like what's for dinner. because then we tend to go for the easy, convenient thing, or you're going to pick up your phone and maybe you're going to order some Uber Eats, which is definitely not advised. So rather plan in advance, because when you've got those healthy foods available, then you're not going to go off track. One of the tips that will definitely fall in with this one is I'm finding a lot of people who are working from home during this COVID time, they're not doing their meal prep like before, because I'm home, the fridge is just around the corner. So one of two things will be happening. They'll either be at the fridge every 5 minutes looking for a snack, or they just work the whole day and they're not getting to their meals. So my advice is that take that little bit of time in the morning that you used to spend on your commute into work and just put together your lunchbox for the day with your snacks. Put it out on the kitchen counter. You can even set a bit of a reminder on your phone when it's time for your snack or for your meal. And that has been working quite well for most of my patients and clients. So definitely give that one a go. So even if you're working from home, you still need to do a bit of planning when it comes to your meals, to be mindful. And then to be mindful when shopping. Definitely, that's why it's so important to have a good grocery list. So just stick to your grocery list and buy healthy foods and snacks. Really stock up your pantry, your fridge, and your freezer. But don't go for those unhealthy items. Be really strict. Only buy what's on your grocery list and just leave those unhealthy treats on the shelf in the store. Because if they're in your cupboards, they're going to go into your tummy. And often people will say, oh, but I had the chocolate, it was there, but who bought it? So take that responsibility, don't buy it in the first place. And then just really be mindful of what's on your plate. Really look at your plate. Is it colorful? More color means more nutrients, more antioxidants. It's healthier. So like I said earlier, that handy tip is to fill half of your plate with your vegetables or your salads, and you can also include your fruit with your meal for the color. And then this one, we also rushed. Don't eat in a rush or on the go. Slow down, sit at a table when you eat. Eat without distraction. Don't eat in front of the television. And then number 5 is really important. I think this one is really underestimated. Often people will get irritated by this mindful eating tip, but I must say this tip is also going to help you with good digestion. So this one is about eating slowly and really chewing your food well. So this really starts the digestive process. It mixes the food with the saliva, and your saliva contains some enzymes that will help release the nutrients from the food. So eating slowly will also help you experience less bloating and less stomach upsets and heartburn. So that is one of the reasons. But also it's a mindful eating practice, just to slow down, really taste your food also, chew it well. All right, and ensure that you're eating enough and satisfied, but not overfull and uncomfortable. And you'll only be able to do this if you're really mindful and you are sitting at a table, put down your knife and fork between bites, really look at your plate, see what's on there. If you're going to eat on the go or in the car or in front of the television, you'll just suddenly feel overfull and uncomfortable. And then we've passed that point of just having enough and just feeling satisfied. Tip number 7, plan to spend about 20 minutes on a meal. So that's really a good amount of time just to slow down a little bit, take a break from work, enjoy your meal, eat slowly, and then to avoid any distractions, like I said earlier, watching TV or working in front of your computer also. And then number 8, this one's really interesting and lots of people don't know this. Be mindful of the taste of food and be mindful of that moment in the meal when the next bite you take does not taste that amazing anymore. So we often will continue eating because the food tasted so nice at the beginning of the meal. But the moment when the food loses its taste, that is actually when you should stop eating. You're full, you're satisfied. All right, so that is something that you can practice for mindful eating. And then tip number 9, plan to eat about every 3 to 4 hours. We shouldn't be nibbling constantly throughout the day. The research shows after a meal, if we had a sufficient good meal, at about 2 hours after a meal, that's only when your glucose levels will be peaking. And after that, it will start falling. So around about 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours only, that's when you'll need your next meal. And that's only if you've been eating proper amounts of food. So don't nibble constantly throughout a day. We call that grazing. And also don't delay your meals for too long, because then you'll be over hungry. And I often find when people don't eat during the day, or they don't eat in about 4 hours time, they overeat later, or often after dinner, they've got those bad sugar cravings and they go for the sweets. So that is what we should be avoiding. And then my last tip, this one's really important. Be mindful of why you are eating. Is it time to eat? Is it time for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Is it time for your snack? Or are you standing in front of the fridge or the grocery cupboard because of another reason? You're feeling anxious, you're feeling stressed, or maybe you're just bored, or maybe it's a habit. When we go and sit in front of the television, maybe we want a snack in front of us. And in the times before COVID, when we used to watch more not television, go to the movies more often, but also for the television, you can try this. Often challenge people not to buy popcorn when you go to the movies, and just try and watch the movie, enjoy the movie. We don't have to eat while we're watching a movie or while we're watching Netflix or television. So challenge yourself a little bit, because that is definitely reckless and mindless eating, and we should really practice the mindful eating if we want to get this under control and really be mindful of our health and our weight. So those are my top 10 tips and just a few wisdoms from my few years in practice. So thank you so much, and thank you, Sanette, for having me. If anyone has got any questions, my email address is there below. It's francettebekker@gmail.com. You're welcome to contact me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Francette. I must say there's quite a few ones of your tips that I'm also practicing. I remember when I started to say that I have to chew my food about 28 times, it took me 3 months to try and do that.
It's difficult. It's very difficult. It doesn't just happen within a week. It's something that you constantly have to practice. So even if you find yourself eating fast during the meal, at that point when you notice it, you slow down immediately. Yes. So yes, it's interesting. Yeah, it took you 3 months. It's something to practice. Just keep on practicing that.
Yeah, not true. I must say I do snack my my meal, my fruit in as my snack time. But I remember I had to eat a protein with my fruit so that
yes, that helps a lot. Yes. Important. Yes. Then that will control your sugar levels a bit better. Yes. So it will differ from person to person. So you find that works for you, and that's what you need to stick with. So
I know there was
it's individualized. Yes.
I'm so sorry. And I know there was a question regarding water. So maybe if you can just mention the water as well, it will be wonderful. Thank you, Francette.
Oh, you're catching me off guard. Yeah, I was just remember about that question of water. I think it was how much water do we need in a day?
Yeah, that
was one of the questions the other day. Yes. So one of the nice tips is that you can have about 1 milliliter of water for every calorie that you're consuming. And we should be consuming about 1,500 to 1,800 calories in a day, depending on how active you are. So that gives you your 1.5, 1.8 liters of water a day. We're saying water now, but it can be any liquids or fluids hydrate. So this can be anything without caffeine. So teas are also great, especially your rooibos and your herbal teas. Sugar-free cordials. So obviously try and stay away from the sugary drinks. But they all hydrate you. Yes, I forgot about that one. That was a good question.
Yes. But then I want to say thank you so much, Francette, sharing your wisdom. And if anyone wants to contact Francette, her details will be included down below, and you're welcome to contact her. So, Francette, is there anything that that you wanted to say before we conclude our session today?
That's it. No, just thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being you. And it's just lovely to follow your journey online. And I would encourage anyone to follow Sanette and join her programs, because I've also been on her program. And yes, I can really recommend it. Just to feel your best and really get happy in life and really get focused in what you're doing. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you so much, Sanette.
Oh,
That's it from my side. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much, Francette. It was so wonderful to see you again, and you must have a fantastic day.
Thank you. Take care. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.